Hey guys, it's Angus, and today I'm going to give you a review of the Inbetweeners movie and also the second Inbetweeners movie. So the first Inbetweeners movie, of course, is based off the Inbetweeners TV series. And the Inbetweeners is a British comedy which was broadcasted on E4 and actually was very popular. So the TV series was about four sixth formers trying to get through school and finish their A levels, and they actually did 3 seasons of the Inbetweeners that was so successful. And of course the movie is them continuing on when they finish sixth form. So in the movie they haven't really got much to do, so they decide to go on holiday. And they go on holiday in Greece, and there's not really too much to the story. It literally is just going on holiday and basically everything just goes wrong for them. Simon Bird, also known as Will in the Inbetweeners, is basically the narrator and the main character, and the story relies on him narrating it, and that is basically the main part of the comedy. So I have to say I really enjoyed the Inbetweeners series, and I actually really liked the movie as well. Of course it's not cinematic and there's no complex scenery or anything like that, it's just comedy, and that is exactly what they nail at. Now it was actually very successful, which is kind of weird because it's a type of comedy I really wouldn't expect to actually be that popular, but the Inbetweeners movie is actually the most successful British comedy of all time. Why I do really like the Inbetweeners because of my age and the target audience, I really don't think it should be popular. Now, a lot of people disagree with that because there's a lot of teens and young adults that are going to like this type of comedy, but there's just nothing really special about it, to be honest. And it's kind of a shame because there's a lot of other British comedies that really are good. So of course, because it is the best British comedy of all time, they're gonna have to make a second, and that is why they made the second film, of course, the Inbetweeners movie 2. But I'll get onto that in a second. So the first Inbetweeners movie was mainly designed to concentrate on the characters and have a simple story so they can concentrate on the comedy, and I really like that because it really is funny, and there's a lot of times that it's just completely hilarious. The comedy itself just is brilliant, it's very original. But the only problem is that it really does have quite a tight target audience. Now, that sounds a bit stupid, obviously, because the first film did very well, but that is mainly because there's so many young adults trying to watch this film, and there's a lot of teens as well. Basically, all of the teens in the UK are going to want to see this film. Another problem with the type of comedy from the Inbetweeners is that there's going to be quite a lot of people that don't understand the comedy or any of the humour. And that may be a problem, but in terms of the box office, that's not a problem at all because they are making a lot of money. Inbetweeners also is quite good because it makes a huge profit. It costs about 3.7 million to make the first movie, and it grossed over $57.6 million, which is actually really high for just a simple comedy. Overall, I would give the first Inbetweeners movie a 6.3 out of 10. There's a lot of good comedy in it, and I really like the characters, but there's just bad things like the editing, and there is some bad acting every now and then, and there's no original music, and of course there's no really creative story. Okay, so now let's get on to the second Inbetweeners movie. So this time, of course, we've got the same characters. We've got Will, Simon, Jay, and Neil. And basically everyone's in uni, and they sort of decide to go on holiday because Jay's in Australia and they want to go and join him, so that's exactly what they do. Already, when I was watching this film in the cinema, I really noticed that they were going to repeat the same story, and unfortunately that's what they do for the whole film. It literally is dedicated to just them being on holiday, and there's nothing new, and that's really annoying because the whole last film was dedicated to them being on holiday, and I would have liked them to do something new with it, but unfortunately they didn't do that. Luckily, again, the comedy still is strong, it's original, and there were some moments that were dangerously funny, and I really enjoyed the comedy. And of course, it's the same story, everything goes wrong, and it turns out to be much worse than it is, but that's the part of the comedy, and that's what I like. Of course, the really terrible thing about this film is just the story. First film really did have a pretty terrible story, and this one has an even worse story. To sum up, they basically go to uni, they decide to go to Australia, and Jay wants to get his girlfriend back, he gets rejected, and then that's the film. Just complete bullshit. Good thing about that, though, is that the story really doesn't matter because it's about the four of them, and it really doesn't need a good story. As long as they're together and they're doing something, it's always going to be funny, and the connection between all four of them is just brilliant. Fortunately, again, there was some bad acting, and there really is no creative story, so I would give it a 5.8 out of 10. Of quite a lot of reviewers actually have given this film 5 stars, and it definitely does not deserve 5 stars. And a lot of other critics as well have said it's better than the second one. In my opinion, I definitely don't think this is true. I definitely think the first film was better because it was more solid story and it was more original. Of course, this still is very funny, and that is what people want to go and see, is that teenagers are doing this random shit and they just mess up, and that's what we've come to see, and that's exactly what the film is about. I really hate to say this, but I really don't want this film to do well because it just doesn't deserve it, to be honest. The TV series was good, and the first film was, but I feel they're just trying to get money from the second film because of the huge success from the first film, which is fine, but I feel they really could have done better on it. In my opinion, I think it would be completely crazy if the producers were to do a third film, because it just really would be bad and there would be no use to it. I would much prefer if there was a fourth series, but that's very unlikely to happen. So that is my review of the first and second Inbetweeners movie. If you did like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Now, definitely say I definitely... definitely. Hey guys, it's Angus, and today I'm going to give you an unboxing of the Nikon D5300. So this is the